$482 million. I want that number to sink in. 482 million. That is the price tag JB Pritzker just slapped on the backs of Illinois families for 2026. And let's be crystal clear, that isn't the total bill. That is just the extra money he is demanding from you next year. That is the fresh theft on top of the $16 billion he has already added to the state budget since he walked into the governor's mansion. While you are sitting at your kitchen table tonight, staring at a stack of bills, trying to figure out how to stretch a paycheck that already ran out 3 days ago, your billionaire governor is sitting comfortably, plotting new ways to raid your savings. While you are deciding between putting a full tank of gas in the car or buying quality meat for dinner, the state of Illinois is treating your bank account like its own personal ATM. But here is the part that should make your blood boil. Here is the statistic that should have every single resident of this state marching on Springfield. Illinois just posted record revenues. The state took in $717 million more than they expected. They were swimming in cash. They had a surplus. In a sane world, in a fair world, what happens when the government takes in way more of your money than they needed? They give it back, or at the very least, they don't ask for more. But JB Pritzker looked at that $700 million surplus, looked at your struggling family and said, "It is not enough. I want more." He had more money than he needed, and he took more from you anyway. Why? Because that is the playbook. It is a bottomless pit of spending that demands to be fed, and you are the food source. They take and they take and they take until there is nothing left but dust in your wallet. If you think things are tight right now, if you think inflation is bad today, wait until you hear what 2026 has in store for the people of Illinois. They are coming for everything: sports betting, property taxes, your cell phone bill, your tobacco, your vacations. Every single aspect of your daily existence is about to get more expensive because the Democrats in Springfield have an addiction to spending money that doesn't belong to them. I am going to break down exactly where every single penny is going. I am going to show you the math they don't want you to see. And trust me, by the end of this video, you aren't just going to be informed, you are going to be furious. But before we dive into this absolute financial disaster, I need you to do something critical for me. Hit that subscribe button right now. Smash the like button. Welcome to Tax Hack Pro. Here is why your subscription matters more today than ever before. The mainstream media is running cover for Pritzker. They are his PR team. CNN isn't going to break down these tax hikes. MSNBC is going to ignore the exodus of businesses. The Chicago Tribune will bury this story on page 23 behind a fluff piece. They protect their political allies while you get crushed by the economic reality. Here at Tax Hack Pro, we are one of the few voices left bringing you the cold, hard financial truth about what is happening in Illinois. But the algorithm hates this kind of content. It suppresses voices that challenge the narrative. Your subscription, your like, your comment, that is our ammunition. That is how we fight back. That is how we get this warning out to every family in Illinois before it's too late. So please take 5 seconds, subscribe, like. Let's expose what they are hiding. Now let's look at the numbers. Part 1. The $482 million betrayal. Let's start with the raw data, because the math is absolutely terrifying. JB Pritzker's 2026 budget is $55.2 billion. Let me repeat that slowly. $55.2 billion. That is a $2 billion increase just from last year. That represents a $16 billion expansion of government since he took office in 2019. Let's translate that into human terms. Residents of Illinois are now paying 44% more in taxes per person than they were just 6 years ago. The burden has jumped from $2,790 to over $4,000 per resident. Ask yourself this question: has your salary gone up 44% in the last 6 years? Has the value of your savings gone up 44%? Have the services you receive from the state improved by 44%? Are the roads 44% smoother? Are the schools 44% better? No, of course not. The only thing that has skyrocketed is the cost of existing in this state. That is double the pace of inflation. It is unsustainable. And remember that surplus, $717 million in unexpected revenue. Any responsible leader would have used that to provide tax relief. Instead, Pritzker raised taxes by another $482 million. It is never enough. They could have a $100 billion surplus, and they would still claim poverty and come after your paycheck. But it gets worse. That $482 million is just the sticker price. That is just what they are admitting to in the press releases. When here at Tax Hack Pro we dig into the budget tricks, the fund sweeps, and the hidden costs, the real number is well over $800 million. Let me break down exactly what they are targeting in 2026. I want you to remember this list. I want you to memorize it. First, the sports betting tax. They are hiking it to aggressive new levels. It's 25 cents per wager for the first 20 million bets, and then it jumps to 50 cents per bet. You might think, well, I don't bet on sports, so who cares? You should care. Because when the state gets addicted to gambling revenue, they stop looking for real economic growth. You are funding a spending addiction. Next, the tobacco tax increase. They are raising the tax from 36% to 45% of the wholesale price. This hits cigars, cigarettes, vapes, nicotine pouches, everything. And again, you might say, I don't smoke. But here is the basic rule of economics. When you squeeze one sector, the costs ripple outward. These taxes hurt small business owners, convenience stores, and gas stations. When their costs go up, the price of your milk and bread goes up too. Then there is the telecommunications tax. This one hits everybody. They are raising the tax on your phone bill from 7% to 8.65%. Every call you make to your grandma, every text you send to your kids, every gigabyte of data you use to watch this video. It all costs more. In a modern world, a phone isn't a luxury, it's a necessity, and Pritzker is taxing it like a vice. Then we have the short-term rental tax. Airbnb and VRBO rentals are now being taxed like hotels with an additional 6% state tax. If you are in Chicago, you are already paying some of the highest rates in the nation. This crushes tourism. It hurts regular people trying to make a few extra bucks renting out a spare room to survive this economy. And the most insulting one of all, the pause on the property tax relief grant. Pritzker effectively hit homeowners with a $43 million property tax increase. This is the man who looked into the camera and promised he wouldn't raise taxes on individuals. Read my lips, he lied. He immediately turned around and hit homeowners. It wasn't a broken promise, it was a calculated deception. Part 2, the property tax nightmare. We need to talk about the elephant in the room, the monster under the bed, property taxes. If there is one thing that defines the Illinois experience, it is crushing, soul-destroying property taxes. Illinois has the second highest property tax rate in the United States of America, trailing only New Jersey. The average Illinois family pays over $6,200 a year just to keep their home. That is more than double the national average. Think about that. You are paying double what Americans in other states pay. You work just as hard, you love your home just as much, but because of your zip code, you are being penalized, and it is getting worse. In Chicago, the median residential tax bill rose nearly 17% this year. That is the largest jump in 30 years. And who got hit the hardest? Was it the billionaires in the penthouses? No. It was the working-class families on the South Side and the West Side. It was the people who can least afford it. Meanwhile, and this is what makes you sick, commercial properties in the downtown loop are paying almost $130 million less. Let me get this straight. The corporate towers get a break, while the family trying to hold onto a bungalow gets crushed. That is JB Pritzker's version of fairness. That is Democrat equity in action. Let's look at the geography of this disaster. If you moved just across the border to Wisconsin, you would save nearly $1,700 a year. If you moved to Indiana, you would save over $4,000 a year. Illinois is an island of high taxes surrounded by states that are begging for your business. And don't think you are safe because you rent. This is a myth we bust all the time on Tax Hack Pro. If you rent, you pay property taxes. Your landlord gets the bill and they pass every single dime of it onto you in the form of higher rent. When taxes go up, rent goes up. Everyone in Illinois is getting destroyed by this. Why is it so high? It's simple. Bloat. Illinois has nearly 7,000 local government units with the power to tax you. 7,000. That is far more than any other state. We have layers upon layers of bureaucracy, redundant administrators, and paper pushers all demanding a cut of your property. Democrats refuse to implement real reforms. They won't cut the spending. They won't touch the bloated government structure. They won't address the pension crisis. So the only tool they have left is to jack up your property taxes and hope you are too busy working to notice. Well, people are noticing. Over 50% of Illinois voters say high taxes are the main reason they want to leave. The state has lost over 420,000 residents since 2020. That is nearly 500,000 people who packed their bags, looked at Illinois and said, "No thanks, I am done." Chicago is facing a $1 billion budget shortfall. The pension debt is $37 billion, and what is their solution? More property tax increases, because that is all they know how to do. Part 3, the corporate death spiral. Maybe you are thinking, well, at least he is going after the big corporations, right? At least the rich businesses are paying their fair share. Wrong, dead wrong. When Pritzker says he is taxing corporations, what he is actually doing is driving them out of the state. He is killing the golden goose. Since 2020, Illinois has lost at least 10 major corporate headquarters. Caterpillar, Boeing, Tyson, Citadel. These aren't mom-and-pop shops. These are titans of industry. These are the companies that anchor an economy. They looked at Pritzker's Illinois and said, "This state is too hostile. We can't do business here." And what happens when they leave? The jobs leave. The high salaries leave. The secondary businesses, the restaurants where the employees ate lunch, the dry cleaners, the contractors, they all suffer. And the tax revenue leaves, so who makes up the difference? You do. The middle-class worker who can't afford to move the family to Florida. You are left holding the bag. In 2026, Pritzker is tightening the screws even further. He is limiting deductions for global intangible low-taxed income. He is changing the reporting rules to squeeze more money out of businesses. He is lowering the sales threshold for remote retailers, which adds more red tape for small online businesses. He claims these are targeted increases. That is a lie. When you tax a business, they don't just absorb the cost. They pass it to the consumer. Your groceries get more expensive. Your services get more expensive. Every single business tax is eventually paid by you. But Pritzker, sitting in his mansion, doesn't worry about an extra $50 on a bill. You do. Part 4. Where is the money going? This is the billion-dollar question. If we are paying record taxes and the state has record revenue, where is all the money going? Because it sure as hell isn't going to fix the potholes that wreck your tires. Let me tell you exactly where your hard-earned dollars are being flushed down the toilet. Number 1. Illegal immigration programs. Pritzker has exploded spending on non-citizen programs. It went from a few $1,000,000 a year to over $1 billion. That is your money going to free healthcare and housing for people who entered the country illegally, while you struggle to pay your own deductibles and your own mortgage. Number 2. Public pensions. This is the black hole. Illinois has $180 billion in unfunded pension liabilities. The state's 2026 budget contributes $5 billion less than what is actually needed to solve the problem. They are kicking the can down the road, ensuring your children and grandchildren will be paying for this mess. Number 3. Government bloat. We are paying thousands of redundant bureaucrats six-figure salaries to do jobs that shouldn't even exist. We are funding a machine that produces nothing but red tape. Every single resident of Illinois now pays $1,237 more in taxes than before Pritzker became governor. For a family of 4, that is nearly $5,000 a year. $5,000. Think about what your family could do with $5,000. That is a used car. That is a semester of college. That is an emergency fund. That is a family vacation. Gone, taken by the state to fund a political agenda that is actively hurting you. And what is the return on investment? The 4th slowest wage growth in the nation. Roads that are crumbling. Schools that are failing our kids despite billions in new funding. Part 5. The economic failure. Let's zoom out and look at the big picture here at Tax Hack Pro, because the tax hikes are just a symptom of a failed ideology. Illinois GDP has only grown 5.7% since 2019. The national average was over 15%. We are growing at 1/3 the speed of the rest of the country. We are being left behind. Wages in Illinois have seen the 4th slowest growth in the nation. We used to be a leader in income. Now, when you adjust for the brutal cost of living, we are falling into the bottom half. Unemployment. Consistently among the highest in the country. At 5.2%, we have the 3rd highest unemployment rate in the U.S. Education. This is the most heartbreaking part. Despite spending billions more, student performance has tanked. Reading proficiency is down. Math proficiency is down double digits. We are paying more to make our children less prepared for the future, and the people are voting with their feet. The population loss is a siren screaming in the night. The only reason the census numbers don't look even worse is because of the massive influx of international migration, people who are largely dependent on state services, not contributing to the tax base yet. Part 6. The 2026 ambush. I want to get specific about what is coming next year, because they are hoping you won't notice until it is too late. The motor fuel tax automatic increase. This is insidious. They set it up so the gas tax goes up automatically. No vote required. No debate. Just higher prices at the pump. Gasoline tax is heading to 48 cents. Diesel to nearly 56 cents. Representative McLaughlin said it best. The idea that we can raise diesel prices and it's not going to have an impact on families is ridiculous. Diesel powers the trucks that bring your food to the store. When diesel goes up, everything goes up. Then there are the fund sweeps. This is a fancy term for theft. Pritzker is diverting money that was supposed to fix the roads, $171 million of it, and sweeping it into the general fund to cover his spending spree. So you pay the gas tax to fix the roads, but the money gets spent on bureaucracy and the roads stay broken. It is a shell game, and the casino tax scam. Pritzker promised no new taxes, then immediately proposed a tax hike on casinos, more than doubling the rate. This isn't about morality, it's about revenue. It shows that no industry is safe. If they think you have money, they are coming for it. Part 7. The solution they won't implement here is the tragedy. We know how to fix this. It isn't a mystery. We see it working in Florida, in Texas, in Tennessee. The solution is simple. Stop spending money you don't have. We need a constitutional spending cap tied to population growth and inflation. If the population is shrinking, the government shouldn't be growing. We need real pension reform. The current system is a Ponzi scheme that is collapsing. We need to move new employees to 400 and 1,000 style plans immediately to stop the bleeding. We need to consolidate the 7,000 units of local government. We don't need a separate mosquito abatement district with a CEO and a pension plan. Merge the agencies. Cut the bloat. We need to cut taxes to make Illinois competitive again. Stop driving businesses away. But JB Pritzker and the Democrats in Springfield will never do this. Why? Because it requires giving up power. It requires admitting they were wrong. It requires prioritizing the taxpayer over the special interests and the government unions. They would rather tax you into poverty than give up control. Conclusion: it is up to you folks. This is the reality of life under one-party rule. This is what happens when there are no checks and balances. They tax you to death while the state crumbles around you. The economy is stagnant. Wages are dead. Property taxes are suffocating. Businesses are fleeing. Crime is up. Schools are down. And through it all, the governor just smiles and asks for another $482 million. The 2026 midterms are coming. Illinois is at a crossroads. We can continue down this path of decline, watching our neighbors leave and our bank accounts drain, or we can wake up. Here is what I need you to do. This is your call to action. Share this video. Send it to your brother in the suburbs, your aunt in the city, your friend who owns a small business. Post it on Facebook, tweet it, email it. The mainstream media is hiding this. You are the only way the truth gets out. Subscribe to Tax Hack Pro, hit that bell. We are fighting an uphill battle against the algorithm to bring you the financial facts. We are 100% independent. We don't take money from the political machine. We work for you. And most importantly, vote. When 2026 comes, remember the $482 million. Remember the gas tax. Remember the property tax hike. Vote for candidates who will cut spending and respect your wallet. Speak up, go to the town halls. Call your representatives, make them uncomfortable. Remind them that they work for you. Illinois doesn't have to be a tragedy. We have the resources, the location, and the people to be an economic powerhouse. But we cannot do it with these policies. We cannot do it with this leadership. You can keep voting for the same failures and expect different results, or you can stand up and demand your state back. I know what I'm doing. I'm staying awake. I'm staying informed. And here at Tax Hack Pro, I'm never going to let them lie to you about your money. The choice is yours, Illinois. Let's take our state back. Thanks for watching. God bless Illinois and God bless America.